Yehovah, please fill me with the Ruach HaKodesh, that I may speak your written words with boldness to those who listen. I ask all these things in Yeshua HaMashiach's name, amen. We'll start with the Shema, listen and obey. Children of Yehovah, pay careful attention and respond. Yehovah is our power and authority. Yehovah works in unity with himself, and you shall act upon your love to Yehovah with your power and authority, with your thoughts in mind, with your entire body, with all the muchness that you have. Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey. Hand, behold, nail, behold. Genesis 19. The two angels came to Sodom that evening when Lot was sitting at the gate of Sodom. Lot saw them, got up to greet them, and prostrated himself on the ground. He said, "Here now, my lords, please come over to your servant's house. Spend the night, wash your feet, get up early, and go on your way." "No," they answered. "We will stay in the square." But he kept pressing them, so they went home with him. And he made them a meal, baking matzah, unleavened bread, for their supper, which they ate. But before they could go to bed, the men of the city surrounded the house, young and old, everyone from every neighborhood of Sodom. They called Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came to stay with you tonight? Bring them out to us. We want to have sex with them." Lot went out to them and stood at the doorway, closing the door behind him. He said, "Please, my brothers, don't do such a wicked thing. Look here, I have 2 daughters who are virgins. Please, let me bring them out to you, and you can do with them what seems good to you. But don't do anything to these men, since they are guests in my house." "Stand back," they replied. This guy came here to live. Now he decides to play judge? That will deal worse with you than with them." Then they crowded in on Lot in order to get close enough to break down the door. But the men inside reached out their hands, brought Lot into the house to them, and shut the door. Then they struck the men at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they couldn't find the doorway. The men said to Lot, "Do you have any people here besides yourself? Whomever you have in the city, son-in-laws, your sons, your daughters, bring them out of this place, because we are going to destroy it." Yehovah has become aware of the great outcry against them, and Yehovah has sent us to destroy it. Lot went out and spoke with his son-in-laws, who had married his daughters, and said, "Get up and leave this place, because Yehovah is going to destroy the city." But his sons-in-laws didn't take him seriously. When morning came, the angels told Lot to hurry. "Get up," they said, "and take your wife and your 2 daughters who are there. Otherwise you will be swept away in the punishment of the city." But he dallied. So the men took hold of his hand, his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters. Yehovah was being merciful to him, and led them, leaving them outside the city. When they had brought them out, he said, "Flee for your life. Don't look behind you, and don't stop anywhere on the plain, but escape to the hills. Otherwise you will be swept away." Lot said to them, "Please, no, my lord. Here, your servant has already found favor in your sight, and you have shown me even greater mercy by saving my life. But I can't escape to the hills because I'm afraid the disaster will overtake me and I will die. Look, there's a town nearby to flee to. It's a small one. Please let me escape there." "Isn't it just a small one? Or that way I will stay alive." He replied, "All right, I agree to what you have asked. I won't overthrow the city which you have spoken. Hurry and escape to that place, because I can't do anything until you arrive there." For this reason, the city was named Zoar, small. By the time Lot had come to Zoar, the sun had risen over the land. Then Yehovah caused sulfur and fire to rain down upon Sodom and Gomorrah from Yehovah out at the sky. He overthrew those cities, the entire plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and everything growing on the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a column of salt. Abraham got up early in the morning, went to the place where he had stood before Yehovah, and looked out toward Sodom and Gomorrah, scanning the entire plain. There before him the smoke was rising from the land like smoke from a furnace. But when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham and sent Lot out, away from the destruction, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot lived. Lot went out from Zoar and lived in the hills with his 2 daughters, because he was afraid to stay in Zoar. He and his 2 daughters lived in a cave. The firstborn said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there isn't a man on earth to come into us in the manner customary in the world. Come, let's have our father drink wine, then we'll sleep with him, and that way we'll enable our father to have descendants." So they plied their father with wine that night. The older one went in and slept with her father. He didn't know when she lay down or when she got up. The following day, the older said to the younger, "Here, I have slept last night with my father. Let's make him drink wine again tonight, and you go in and sleep with him. In that way we'll enable our father to have descendants." They plied their father and with wine that night also, and the younger also got up and slept with him. He didn't know when she lay down or when she got up. Thus both daughters of Lot became pregnant by their father. The older one gave birth to a son, called him Moab. He is the ancestor of Moab to this day. The younger also gave birth to a son, and she called him Ben-Ami. He is the ancestor of the people of the Ammon to this day. How can we learn to love our Creator after reading Genesis 19? We can learn what to do and what not to do. We can know that as soon as Lot saw the men, he prostrated himself on the ground. We can know Lot's level of hospitality was extremely high. Aim to keep away from sexual immorality and stay away from those who are sexually immoral. Aim to do right in the sight of Yehovah. Aim to never willingly choose to live in a toxic environment. Trust that the angels of Yehovah are powerful and can do anything for the glory of Elohim. Aim to cry out to Elohim for his help. Aim to listen and obey to the commands of Yehovah. Take seriously the voice of Yehovah. Aim to act quickly in your obedience to the commands of Yehovah. Pray for mercy in your life. Trust that Yehovah will lead you even by your hand sometimes. Aim to obey word for word the commands of Yehovah. Aim to find favor in the sight of Yehovah. Trust that Yehovah will rain down sulfur and fire upon the unrighteous as judgment. Aim to keep sex between husband and wife no matter what the circumstances are. Aim to stay away from wine and never get drunk, even if you are with family. How can we love others as Yeshua loves us? We can teach others to the extreme importance of listening and obeying to the commands of Yehovah. How can we bear one another's burdens? We can point others to the gospel of Yeshua and sharpen each other in our walk with Yeshua. Produce spiritual fruit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, humility, and self-control. Let's see here. We can end our night with the Arianic blessing. Yehovah will kneel before you presenting gifts, and he will guard you with a hedge of protection. Yehovah will illuminate the wholeness of his being toward you, bringing order, and he will provide you with love, sustenance, and friendship. Yehovah will lift up the wholeness of his being and look upon you and will set in place all you need to be whole and complete.